Now, we're gonna get a good fried bologna sandwich right now. All right, this is the guy. This is the guy who makes it. All right.
Why, hello there. Welcome to this video. Thank you for joining me. My name is Leah. I'm a new progressive YouTuber, and yeah, I'll be doing Wednesday and Saturday shows where I talk about the big political stories, cultural trends, all that stuff from a progressive point of view. So if that's something that you're interested in, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, especially with the bell notification, but just hit that subscribe button. That would help me out a bunch. Trying to push towards 100 subscribers just to start off strong. So if you want to be part of the first 100 people to hit that sub button, that would mean a lot to me. And also, you want to leave a comment down below. That helps me with the algorithm and engagement and all that wonderful stuff. But today we're going to be talking about JD Vance. And with no further ado, we're going to get right into it. So today we're going to be talking about JD Vance. And maybe you know about him, maybe you don't know about him. JD Vance is an elected official for Ohio, my state. Yes, I'm an Ohio resident. I live in the cornfield hell that is Ohio. But yes, JD Vance is an elected official from here. And he is also Trump's VP pick for the 2024 campaign. Now, straight out of the gate, I will be 100,000% honest with you. I did not expect JD Vance to get this position in the campaign. Honestly, I knew that JD Vance was a super brown noser for Trump. Like, he didn't always used to be that way. He actually used to be a never Trumper back in the day or whatever when he first started kind of getting around and stuff like that. But since then, he has actually become like a super Trump fan, brown noser, sycophant, whatever. And I kind of figured for Trump's second term, like, I mean, he had so many issues in his first term where like he would try to do something absolutely off the wall. Like he would try to do something super radically crazy, just like something that he just wouldn't be allowed to do normally. And, you know, people would object to it. And then, you know, Trump would get all mad about it or whatever and fire them, or they would resign or oust them or whatever. You know, like there was a lot of that in the first administration. So I feel like it's kind of crazy to me that Trump's pick for VP is someone who like didn't even really like him like a few years ago, kind of was like a never Trumper, kind of hated Trump a lot a few years ago. And we got some proof in that pudding. JD Vance repeatedly indicated in 2016 that he believed Donald Trump had committed sexual assault. So like we have some quotes from this. It says like at a fundamental level, this is sort of a he said, she said thing, right? And at the end of the day, do you believe Donald Trump, who always tells the truth? Just kidding, he said sarcastically. Or do you believe the woman on the tape? So then later on, he got endorsed by Trump and that helped him win his campaign or whatever. And he came out talking to Wolf Blitzer about the same thing, talking about the same thing, and said, I think fundamentally the lawsuit is about something that happened 25 years ago. It's a he said, she said situation. And I trust my friend and the guy that I've known and gotten to know. So that's super funny. Like that's hilarious that he like used the same sentence structure. He started with like at a fundamental level, he said, she said situation. And then the first time he's like, and would you really trust someone like Donald Trump? And then the second time he's like, yeah, actually, I think I would trust someone like Donald Trump. And I will not lie to you. I think that is a sign of his character, to say the very least. Like, if you're going to flip-flop that much on someone who's a sexual predator over power, then it just kind of shows the lengths that you're willing to go to get things. And it kind of shows that JD Vance has absolutely no spine. He has no ability to stand up for his principles. And he will simply bend to the will of whoever tells him to bend over when it, you know, ends up with him getting a position in power. But like, who is JD Vance, right? Like, who is this guy, right? Like, why would Trump pick this dude? Who is he? Well, as I said, he's an elected official from Ohio, and he got some momentum in the popular culture kind of sense of things by releasing a book. I think it's called Hillbilly Elegy. And essentially he tried to frame his life in this book as being sort of like this like homegrown Southwestern Ohio poor boy who like grew up and did the thing or whatever and made it or something. But let's be totally honest, that's like very far from the truth. I mean, there may be some shreds of truth about like his upbringing, like he may have been poor at some point in his life, but I don't think that he's been poor for a very long time. The dude is an ivory tower, Ivy League school guy. He went to Yale. And I mean, he is a super rich, like tech bro oligarch kind of dude. You know, like he's got money and stuff. And I'd be willing to bet like at his core, he doesn't really agree with a lot of these like super conservative principles and stuff like that. There's a lot of evidence that he doesn't. He's like a Catholic convert, like he converted in his mid 30s or something, which people do from time to time. But like it really seems like it was lined up a little bit too well with him, you know, trying to jump into the conservative side of things. So probably more than likely he did that as more of like a publicity stunt than anything to try to like garner up support from, you know, Catholics. But yeah, he was essentially selected because he is an elite, because he has money, because he's connected to money, because he's connected to an industry where there's a lot of money. And if you can get some of these like conservative tech bro people on your side, then I'm sure that that would, you know, give you quite a bit of money to do a campaign with. So rather than focusing on the potential of like, you know, maybe having a woman or something like that as a VP, it seems like Trump is going all in on the money side of things. Like I've noticed this about recently about Trump's campaign is that he's like doing a lot of things to try to raise a lot of money. Like I think he thinks that if he can just overwhelm the campaign with money, that will ensure him a success in November, even if it's against Harris. And I think that he has another thing coming entirely. I don't think that this JD Vance pick is a good one at all, because he picked JD Vance for the money and not really for anything else. I think he kind of failed to appreciate how like JD Vance has absolutely no charisma. The dude is a wet paper bag. He is absolutely horrible to listen to. We're gonna look at some of his speech stuff here, and unfortunately you're gonna have to hear the sound of his voice and hear him speak, but it'll give you an appreciation of how this like man is like one of the most uncharismatic people I've ever seen in my life. Like honestly, like I thought Ron DeSantis was really bad in the charisma department, but this guy is just as bad. And there's something about these like young Republican guys who are like up and coming leaders in the Republican Party, and like they play the conservative principle game, right, where they're like, oh, I'm so principled in my conservative beliefs or whatever, but then they get on stage and they have to actually speak and be charismatic. And unlike Trump, they can't just pull it out of their butts. Like, I feel like they just kind of think it's going to happen. Like, they think that, like, as long as they stand on the right, quote unquote, right side of policy stuff, like conservative side of policy stuff, that they'll just be okay to get up on stage and just like ramble on like Trump does. But like, these guys are so anti-charismatic. Like, they would have to practice in front of the mirror 12 hours a day to even start to sound like someone you would want to listen to. But yeah, I'm not going to ramble on much longer. Let's just go ahead and listen to some of his speech stuff.
Wow. Well, I love you guys too. Just because we're in Middletown, I can say that, right? Man, it is so good. It is so good to be back home for once, isn't it? Wow. We had an amazing crowd here. We have an amazing crowd here. We had hundreds of people outside that couldn't even get in, and I'm just so grateful to Middletown for welcoming me home. It is good to be here. Thank you, guys. God bless you. Now, where can I get a good fried bologna sandwich right now? All right, this is the guy who makes it. All right, before we get started here, I have to say a few things. First of all, I want to take a moment to thank some outstanding Republican leaders that we have today. And I got to say hello, Middletown, Ohio. Hello to the great Middletown Middies. I am so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful for this turnout. You know, so many of you know my story, but I graduated from Middletown, Ohio School in 2003, 21 years ago. And a lot of you know the story of my family. A lot of you, I mean, hell, a lot of you are my family, actually. We're probably, if you count fourth and fifth cousins, half of you are probably related to me in this room. But, you know, this town was so good to me. And I could tell so many stories about, you know, my mamaw, my grandmother. I could tell stories about my mom and my sister. I could tell stories about Aunt Wee. I know Aunt Wee's here. We've got so many great, I think all those people here, actually. I think Cheryl, where's Cheryl? You here, Cheryl? I love you, Cheryl. My stepmom. We just got so many good people who've been so good to me. But even if you cast a wider net, you know, Ron Selby was my math teacher in high school. Ron's got to be around here somewhere. I know he is. Now I will tell a story. Now I don't know if this story is actually true or if it's just the legend of Ron Selby. But Ron, if it's not true, don't tell me, because I've gone 21 years believing it, and I don't want to be contradicted now. But the story is that at some point, Ron, of course, was a tough teacher. He demanded a lot of his students, and I was a beneficiary of that. But the story goes that at one point, Ron Selby had a student who really didn't want to take one of those world-famous Ron Selby math final exams. And so somebody called in a bomb threat to Middletown, Ohio school. So everybody goes outside, of course. Everybody remembers, was a student at one point or another. You get a bomb threat, you got to go stand outside. The fire department comes. But Ron was really pissed off that somebody was messing with his schedule. So he walked to the kid's locker, got what was allegedly the bomb, threw it in a trash can, and said, I know this kid, he's not smart enough to make a bomb. Let's get back to school. That's the legend of Ron Selby. I could go through half an hour.
But yeah, I mean, oh God, it was very boring. That was insanely boring. He is very uninspiring. I feel like he was not ready to be handed this, and he just was, and it is what it is. So let's go on. There was like one other speech where he definitely attacked Kamala Harris, and I want to show you that.
Now, I want to say something about our likely opponent, Kamala Harris, because, she said a couple of days ago that I showed no loyalty to the United States, that I have no loyalty to the United States. Well, I don't know Kamala. I served in the United States Marine Corps, and I built a business. What the hell have you done other than collect the government check for the past 20 years? But I want to say, my friends, whether it's Kamala Harris or anybody else, it's the same Democrat.
All right, I can't stand to listen to any more of JD Vance, and I'm going to probably cut out a lot of that, actually, because I feel like you only need a few clips there to really get an idea of what JD Vance is like. And I will actually say he's a little more charismatic than Ron DeSantis. I will have to admit there's just a hint more of charisma, but I think it's honestly because he doesn't lick his lips constantly, and he's able to not make the weirdest face expressions on the face of this earth, although his facial expressions are still kind of weird. But yeah, that's JD Vance, a rich dude who probably hasn't had to work a real job in 20 plus years, pretending to be a working class American person, trying to relate to the American people. And it's stupid. He is totally not that kind of person. And I honestly feel like as they run the campaign, it'll become completely obvious that he's just some rich white guy that they just grabbed because Trump wanted more money for his campaign. And honestly, I kind of hope that the Republican Party turns on him. I kind of hope that they eat him alive. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe it'll be good that Trump picked such a weak VP candidate. I really do think that he could have picked several other people that would have worked more in his favor electorally, but he didn't. So it is what it is. I mean, if he wants to pick a weak candidate, then, let him pick a weak candidate. Go for it. Have fun with that. All right. So that's the end of this topic, the end of this segment. If you want to hit the like button, if you want to subscribe, if you want to comment down below, do all those wonderful things, try to help my content, my channel grow. That would be amazing. That would be wonderful. I'll be here every Wednesday and Saturday, dropping new stuff, talking about the stuffs and the things and the whatnot and all that great stuff. I do have a link tree that is available. I think it's in the description of all of my videos. And in that link tree, I have my Instagram, I have my TikTok, I have my Discord, all that wonderful stuff. Yeah, I just made a Discord, so that is up and running. If you want to join, there's basically no one in there, but yeah, I'm going to start building the community from scratch. So if you want to be one of the first few people to join that Discord, you're more than welcome to do so. Yeah, I'm going to wrap up here. I probably have one more segment to go. Maybe I'll catch you in the next one, but if I don't, or until the next time I see you, do me an itty bitty little favor and stay hydrated.